All right, welcome back to our HTML discussions. Today we're going to look closer into Node Package Manager. We're going to actually use this tool. So, what is Node Package Manager? Again, Node Package Manager is part of Node.js, a much larger thing. It manages packages, which seems circular. Of course, it is. We use it to download tools and code. So, think of tools as dev tools, things that you'll use in the production of code that don't necessarily get shipped to the end user. And code, and these are libraries that become part of your project that do get shipped to end users. And NPM helps manage this. So NPM tracks the updates for you of these packages that you download and helps the team use the same tool set and code. Next, we'll use NPM to install a dev tool called LightServer, and you'll understand much more about what NPM does for us. We're back in Visual Studio Code with our project as we left it at the end of the last lecture. Index.html and this package.json, which we remember was created when we first ran down in here in the terminal window, when we first ran npm init, that created this package.json file, which in turn is our configuration file for what Node Package Manager has worked on for us. So we're going to use npm now to install software package. So npm install light server and then dash save dev. Now, NPM is actually going out to the internet and downloading this code for us. And after it gets done, we'll take a look at both what happens to package.json and to my file structure. Okay, we're back. That ran for a minute or so, and we can see our changes that the result of installing this light server. So package.json itself has changed. Now we have a dev dependency. Remember, we have a tools, and we have actual code that we're downloading. So this server light is when I did dash save dev on the command line, that said to save it in the dev dependencies area of package.json, which documents and helps manage the code that we've installed. We also see that there's a new folder called Node Modules, and this is where npm installs the code packages. Notice this is all a result of installing that light server. So it's code that it uses in order to do what it does. And what does it do? It turns out that light server is a lightweight web server. So instead of just opening up our HTML as a file on the file system and viewing it in the browser, we're going to actually use light server to serve it up like a web server would serve it, more professional. It also has some advantages in that we can edit our HTML code and instantly see the results in the browser. We'll get that hooked up in the next bit. So our next task is we're going to be able to start our npm light server, that is light server. So we're going to add a section to our scripts file here in package.json. So start is a verb that's known by npm, and we'll see how that's used in a moment. So we're going to use that verb to say start. It means npm run light. That in turn, we need a light definition. Light means light server. Save that. I'm going to do Control-Shift-S, save all files. Oops. I don't want to do that. Save that file. So down in our terminal window here, we type in npm start. That will hit the start section here, which will cause us to run the light server and pick up index.html and show that. So there you see our server starting. And there it is showing our web page in the browser. So index.html, that's the default file for opening web pages, and that's what we see here. The only visible part of this is document. Let me dock this over on this side of the screen. And I'll take our editor, not our editor, and dock it on this side of the screen, the left side. Try that again. There we go. And we can see that the title document is really the only visible thing here, and that's up here. We'll add a little excitement to this document. Hit save, and you can see how this light server reflects our changes in the browser right away. And when we can start adding some text here, and we see it right away in the browser when I hit save the file. And with that, we're finished with our infrastructure. We have Visual Studio working. We've shown how to use Visual Studio's terminal window to connect and do operating system commands. We've used NPM, part of Node.js, to install a package we're going to need. We've seen how that package gets configured in package.json to run. In this case, we did some additional configuration so that the start verb means to run our light server. Once that runs, then we have our web page live in an actual web server, at least a miniature web server, so that our web page is not served up as just a dead text file, but an actual live website. We've seen what NPM does. It downloads code for us. It puts it in a folder called Node Modules. And a download of a simple library can result in a lot of changes. And we've also seen that package.json remembers those downloads. In this case, since it's a dev tool, it writes a section called dev dependencies. And there we go. So now we're ready, and we have all of our infrastructure. And for the next few lectures, we'll focus on HTML itself.